again, and welcome to MLR Weekly, as presented by Rugby Wrap-Up. Matt McCarthy in New York City. Thank you for joining us. We have a great show, including Major League Rugby champion hooker of the New England Free Jacks, Andrew Quattrin. Bryan Ray, a fellow Canadian of America's Rugby News. Mr. John Fitzpatrick with Rugby Morning's Coffee Break. But before we get to any of that, we have the best dang recap in sports. This time about the Major League Rugby Championship. Let's get to it.
Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly brought to you by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, New York City, the world's best rugby pub. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle. Sun-splashed shorelines of San Diego, 12,000 plus fans passed through Snapdragon Stadium's turnstiles for the Major League Rugby Championship. Seattle versus New England, Seawolves versus Free Jacks. Two teams used to winning, but there could only be one winner. Like two heavyweight boxers, they went toe-to-toe, and the toes of Jason Patros and Mac Mason would weigh heavily on the outcome as each team scored but one try. An acrobatic in the corner try by LaRue Milan, who came back from a severe Rugby World Cup injury to star on MLR's biggest stage, right next to Marshmallow, was countered by gritty Seattle's Joe Taufete'e, who is no stranger to the try zone, this one coming via blunt force and agility. But coming out of halftime, and despite both teams missing star players, it was anybody's match. Seattle's seawall and the ferocious Free Jacks defense held each other's offenses in check, but the Seawolves had a Tavita Lopeti yellow card, a thinner bench, and some wacky front row substitution stuff thrown their way. And the Free Jacks, like they did all year when they needed to, did what it took to win. Tip your caps to both teams for a fierce and exciting battle. Final score, 20-11 Free Jacks.
Let's take a break. Rugby Morning's Coffee Break with John Fitzpatrick. John's calling in from Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. John, welcome back again. I can't believe here we are with the season over.
Hey, Matt, I can't believe it over. It's certainly flown by, and I can't believe you've asked me to come back on the show. But hey, tip of the cap to the New England Free Jacks for winning back-to-back MLR Shields, becoming just the second team in MLR to win consecutive titles. Of course, the first was the Seattle Seawolves. They did that back in 2018-2019. Matt, the game itself, I mean, you got to give three cheers to the score by LaRue Milan. How about dotting down your favorite phrase right there in the corner? What did you think of that?
I thought it was a tremendous athletic achievement. The finish of some great plays by the team that got him sprung, so to speak, and almost an incredible defensive play. We saw one later on Fricker. Great game. Next.
Matt, in the process, the final, hosted in sunny San Diego at Snapdragon Stadium, set a new single game attendance record. Just over 12,000 fans in attendance. They also got to see a halftime show by DJ Marshmallow. Matt, you kind of share a striking resemblance to DJ Marshmallow a little bit.
Well, like DJ Marshmallow, I'm always better when I'm a bit toasted. Next.
Hey, we got to mention this real quickly at halftime, but kudos to New England Free Jack center Ben Lesage. He was the 2024 recipient of the S. Marcus Callaway Community Impact Award for all of his efforts off the field. Want to make sure that we highlight that, of course.
Can you tell me who the 2023 winner was?
I don't know. I'm not toasted.
He was not in the game. It was Dan Creel, a big missing component for Seattle in that game at center. Next.
Well, Matt, the MLR season has officially begun. And how about NOLA Gold? They're the fourth MLR club looking for a new head coach. Of course, Corey Brown left to join the Highlanders in Super Rugby. Matt, Brown led NOLA to their first playoff appearance in franchise history in just his first season. Were you surprised by that?
And a home playoff game at that. And yeah, I guess I am surprised by it. But, success in this league for players means sometimes a better contract elsewhere, and the same thing for coaches. And if they're not locked up, and I think that the feeling is, amongst owners across the board, is if somebody's got a better opportunity and can make more money, they're going to let them go. And maybe that was the case here. But yeah, we got a number of coaches already gone. I'm wondering if any of them will pick back up with another team. Perhaps, Danny Lee signs with another team. Who knows? Who knows? Hey, we might even see Sam Harris back with another team. Maybe San Diego. Who knows?
I feel like I feel like you're sitting on some news there, Matt. Come on, spill the beans.
I'm not yet. I'm not. There's some stuff that's floating around that hasn't been vetted. But next week's show should have a bunch of good stuff on it, John. Next.
Well, Matt, in Houston, the SaberCats confirmed that Director of Rugby Heineke Meyer did not re-sign, so he's going back to South Africa. Current head coach Pote Human will resume those duties. Matt, I'm looking forward to next week's episode and all these juicy gossip and rumors you're not sharing.
Well, Meyer wasn't offered a new contract. From what I gather, he wanted to stay. He likes coaching in the United States. He likes helping players develop. He likes developing them on and off the pitch. That's been his thing throughout his life. He likes to give back. And, I guess he would have been gone even if he won the Shield, from what I understand. But that's all speculative. I don't know that definitively. Next.
Well, Matt, I want to close out just to look ahead to the MLR Collegiate Draft. The date for the draft is TBD, but it's going to happen sometimes toward the end of August. But Matt, should me and your boy Zach Lanning, should we hold another live draft coverage?
Yeah, as long as he's in charge of it and editing it. Next.
Well, man, that is all I got. I am kind of sad. It's the MLR off season now. There's a big
lot to talk. We got a lot to. There's no stopping us. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to do. There's all kinds of things we could speculate about. There's all kinds of rumors we can make up. We got a whole. Come on, it's around the corner, and I bet you that they moved the season back to the original start time that they had last year. That might be the first thing that happens. That's speculative. Maybe it won't be speculative by next week. On that note, John, I want to thank you for coming on.
I can't wait till next week. I want to hear more.
They're called cliffhangers, and we've got some more coming up. In the meantime, we have to take a break and thank John. Thanks, John. We'll be right back.
Digs like a demented mole there.
Need a great price on a new vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. Easy Price shows you our lowest prices on the Mid-Atlantic's largest selection. Find your best price online or at any of our 31 dealerships.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. And we're back, and we have the pleasure of welcoming in MLR Championship hooker of the New England Free Jacks, Mr. Andrew Quattrin. Andrew, welcome back to MLR Weekly.
How you doing, Matt? Good to see you. Love your show. Love the backdrop. Backdrop's awesome. Thanks for having us.
Hey, listen, man, I got to say, you're automatically my MVP of the league for managing to carve out some time out of all of the celebratory stuff that's going on up there in Quincy with all the boys after winning your second consecutive championship. How are you feeling?
Good. Yeah. I mean, the travel home was pretty tough. We got home at about 11 o'clock on Monday night, 11:30. It's been awesome. Kind of just getting around the guys yesterday. The Quincy police escort waited for us till 11:50.
Wow.
And drove us home. They're awesome. Like we are complaining in the back of the bus, and the Quincy police are just waiting for us. Like they could have been in bed type of thing. So the guys on the bikes, they were awesome. It's been good. It really has been good.
All right. So are you more banged up from the game or from the aftermath, the partying?
Honestly, the game, my shoulder's still bugging me. It was a hot day. Like, we haven't really had much time since we've been back. We just had like a little bit of barbecue yesterday, which was nice. But yeah, the game it was a physical game. They're just such a big team. Their forward pack is immense, right? That whole West Coast, Western Conference, all the forward packs are massive. You really got to step up. You really got to bring your best game.
So you're going head to head against Joe Taufete'e in this one.
Yeah.
You had to go against Fawcett in the previous one. What have your toughest battles been, hooker to hooker, for you?
It's interesting because they're both like veteran hookers, bit different body shapes.
Yeah, Joe's built like a piano.
Yeah. Like he's just a massive guy. So strong. Those both, I think, just because they were so two different. They were two different games, like two different matchups. Not that they're completely different, but they're just different players to me, at least. So just even switching between playing both of them, like great scrummaging, you got to switch stuff up. The way like they attack, you got to switch stuff up mentally. No, but to be able to play against them, I mean, in two huge games is awesome. It's amazing. I'm pretty grateful, like it's great competition, and they're awesome guys, right? So no, it's been a crazy year.
All right. First, before I forget, I love the mullet. I am so jealous of that mullet. I can't tell you. I would be doing all kinds of stuff if I could. You're a hockey, hockey. You're from Canada. Is there going to be any kind of Alex Ovechkin kind of traveling around with the Shield? We're going to see you in a fountain in Quincy at any time, or in Boston. It's like any of that happening?
The parade's Sunday, so I'm not sure which guys are going to be here for that. Hopefully a decent amount. But some of us are going home just with international stuff coming up. I'd love to bring it back to my home club. I don't know. We had to check it in oversized baggage. I don't know if it would fit in the plane.
We'll be able to make an exception.
I know. But we deserve that, don't we? Everybody should get it for the day. Bring it to their home club, right? Like. I think Keith Cole, your buddy Keith Cole, was asking last night if he could do that.
Oh, so, you're gonna get my ass kicked, aren't you?
No, I'm not. No. I'm just teasing.
I earned it. All right. So before I let you go, there's one thing that we have to do. People like me have to do a better job, and that is making fans understand who the stars are. You're one of these guys now, top of his game, top of his position. You're a star. So I got some branding ideas for you for a nickname. And I want to throw them by you. All right. First off, we can't call you Q because the James Bond people will sue us. Right. Unless we could work something out like that. The Q train, pretty obvious, right? Q train, maybe.
I've got that a couple of times. Yeah.
How about the Quattrinator?
It just seems like a mouthful. Like it seems pretty full on.
Okay. How about, going on Fonzie sort of? How about QUINCY? Quatsy.
I've heard Quatsy before. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I have. I like that.
Then the last two are somewhat related. We go the Q man, and then the human being.
The human being.
And we have a whole new section of fans dressed as human beings. Come on.
Thomas Grant calls me cumin.
Okay.
He does.
So he's going to sue us if we.
We need Jason Potras is the real superstar. I want to live in the shadows.
How does that guy do it? Every team knows. I'm looking at him.
He's so good.
He doesn't seem to be moving that fast. Maybe it's just his running style, and he is actually zipping across. But how do they keep letting? He's like going 20 yards for tries.
It's crazy. The guy is so good. Like I don't understand it, honestly. Like he just sneaks around. Like he's just so good.
As the other team, you got one guy to stop. You got one guy to stop, and he's just beep. It's like everybody's just it's him. Let him go.
He's cool. The most humble guy on the like. He's an awesome like human. Talk about a human being. He is an awesome human being. Like he's a great guy and a great rugby player.
There's our first human being. He's the first to endorse the cumin. That's perfect. That's perfect. Anyway, are you going to be around for the parade, or are you heading back? Or what?
Heading back Friday. Yeah, a bunch of us
Friday.
I think there'll be a handful of guys, but the fans will be there. The fans will keep it going.
They'll be so drunk they won't notice. That's Boston. I know Boston fans. But where are you going now?
Going to Toronto, and then with the Canada stuff starting up soon.
Just as your body starts to recover, you're right back at it, right?
As Connor Keys would say, best job in the world.
It is. Well,
yeah, we're super fortunate.
Second best job in the world is getting to talk to the likes of you, and I really appreciate you coming on.
No, Matt, thanks for what you do. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Andrew Quattrin, the human being. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Matt. See ya.
And now your Major League Rugby Play of the Week brought to you by the Rugby Network. With tries nearly impossible to come by in this heavily contested Major League Rugby Championship, Leroux Milan's exceptional demonstration of athletic skill to score in the corner for New England was something to behold. Seattle's lone try, and only one of two in the match, was the product of Joe Taufate'e's brute strength and nimble agility, traits that make Joe the elite weapon that he is. In a tightly and hotly contested match, the yellow card to Tavita Lopetti put the Seawolves on the defensive in a tense and pressure-packed second half. And the Rugby Network Play of the Week is Leroux Milan's acrobatic touching down of the ball before he got knocked into touch.
I wouldn't like to be at the bottom of that.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
Hey, U.S. fans, you can tune into every match live on Flow Rugby. How do we know that? Because we're on there all the time. This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? And we're back with Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News, and you wouldn't know that he was Canadian, ladies and gentlemen, in the red, white, and blue of the Free Jacks that he's decked out in. Bryan, welcome back.
Are you trying to tell me that Boston is not in Canada? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
Well, I mean, you could be confused by the roster, certainly, because it does look like Team Canada / the Arrows on the Free Jacks, but they are an American. This American, not North America, not your side of the border, this American team.
Adopted Canadians, then. We'll call Boston the most Canadian city in Major League Rugby, and very pleased to see them as champions, obviously, with so many Canadians playing on that team. But yeah, there we go.
I'd give you some quotes from some of the players or the staff, but apparently they're all still inebriated on an Alex Ovechkin type trip with the Shield that's going to last about 3 months, and deservedly so. Deservedly so, you finger waggers out there, including your beloved Phil from Jack's Rangers podcast, right?
Yeah, old Phil there is in his glory again. He's still a little bit to the wind, so to speak. Still in San Diego. I don't know what he's doing there, but
they wouldn't let him on the plane.
We'll let him gloat for a little bit longer just because the right team won.
Did his credit card bounce again? Is that what happened? I'm just speculation, Phil. It's just a joke. His credit card didn't bounce, everybody. Everybody exhale. No Reddit comments. So what did you think of the match?
Well, it kind of thought pretty much like what we said it was going to go last week. So, we knew that New England had to play a possession game. They had to move around that bigger Seattle pack, and they did really exactly that. They had to avoid a set-piece battle with them. They only gave away, I think, 3 penalties in that first half, so they really limited those opportunities for, Joe Taufete'e to get those driving maul tries. That one try that Big Joe did score was a trick move, by the way, so that was pretty good, but it came from the set piece, so we expected that. I think they just executed their game plan almost to perfection. They put pressure on Seattle defensively, that rush defense and the double tackles, so they're winning that contact area. And once they started, every time they got an opportunity to kick points, Patras was there and he was nailing the kicks. And I just wonder if a few chances that Seattle kind of turned down, they probably should have taken a shot at the post, even though like Mac Mason missed an earlier one, but he's such a good kicker. He recovers just fine after that. So I'm surprised they didn't do a little bit more. I'm also surprised that, I kind of expected Mason and Smith and JP Smith to kind of plug the corners a little bit more with tackle kicks, but maybe that's down to good positioning from the New England defense. But, you saw JP get frustrated that one time he kicked it straight to Patras, 50-22, and then it's 3 points. So, but once it was 9 points early in the second half, you kind of thought that Seattle was going to start chase. They had to chase the game, and that's just not the kind of team that really wants to do that. And especially when Big Joe went off just before the hour mark, the subs start rolling in, you just kind of thought, well, I don't know if they're going to have it in them to come back. And I thought New England's defense in that second half just ramped it up, and the players that came off the bench were outstanding. So I think the best team won on the day.
I got to tip my cap to both teams because both teams were missing significant star players, right, for each franchise, and both teams played heroic defense. It was, everybody left it all on the tape on the field. It was a back and forth defensive battle. What was so impressive was New England's ability to just have phases after phase after phase. I think Petrie was at one point said it's got to be over 16 phases here at one point. And kudos to Petrie. I thought he injected a lot of life into that broadcast. Not that the other people didn't, but Mike, I think, had his best game as a broadcaster in the booth, and he's had a stellar season. But you could feel his excitement from the opposite side of the TV screen. But what did you make of the Michigas with the substitution thing at the end for the Seawolves, where there was, some pretty strong language coming through the ref mic?
Yeah, you kind of had to watch yourself, Cameron Orr, for saying that, but I have sympathy for him. The sideline officials got that wrong. They had said that he had come off at 63 minutes or something like that and pulled him off. I've looked at the tape. He didn't come off then. So Luke Rogan, the referee, to his credit, got it right initially when he allowed Chance Wengluski to replace Jean Drost. And then the sideline official came on and insisted that Orr had to come off. And that's the wrong decision, really. Even if it was that.
But after the conversations, how did they get it wrong?
Yeah, that's a good question. I suspect what had happened was they had a card that said that Orr was meant to be replaced by Wengluski, and then it changed instantly when Drost got injured. So I suspect he was looking at the cards and didn't actually realize that substitution hadn't actually been made. So I don't know. Even if it had, then they would have got one of them. They would have got the first one wrong. So either way, the sideline officials just didn't have it right. And I know what that's like. I've done that role in international competition.
Oh, before. Here we go.
But you just got to know it. That's the 60-minute mark is about when, all that stuff happens. You've got to be expecting that. You've got to know the substitution laws, and you've got to get, especially in a big game like that, you've got to get it right. And unfortunately, they just didn't.
Is there any truth to the rumor that photo of Phil behind you was taken when that play happened?
Yeah, he was actually there instructing that official to go on the field, whispering sweet nothings in his ear. Yeah.
Ridiculous, crazy. But what was your overall assessment of the refereeing?
I thought the officiating in general was pretty good. I've seen a couple. There was one I remember Will Hooley questioning on the broadcast one of the turnovers from Ethan Fryer. He thought might have been side entry. Maybe is one of those 50-50 ones. I would agree with that. There was a scrum penalty I think it was for Wheatley. There was 2 scrum penalties I've seen people kind of question, and the first one I think was Sam Matenga called for driving up, which I thought was the right call because of the picture that he gave to the referee. And then there was the wheeling one where he called him for kind of stepping to the left and then driving to the left. Again, I think the picture that the referee saw at that time, I don't think it's an unreasonable call. I think personally I probably would have gone for a reset because you're not entirely sure who was at fault for that rotation. But overall, I thought it was fairly refereed. I thought the TMO decisions were correct. Took a little long at times, but they got the right calls. So overall, I'm satisfied with the officiating, aside from that substitution mess up.
All right, and what are you looking for in the offseason initially? You looking for any more head coaching changes?
I think there might be another one or 2 maybe on the line. I would guess 1 more at least anyways. We'll see what happens. As far as what I'm looking for, I would love a little bit of stability. It was just such a mess last offseason. It was such a emotionally draining. I mean, obviously for us, particularly up in the Northeast, it was awful. So
I'm still not over it.
Yeah, neither am I. So, I mean, look at me. I'm dressed in I'm an American here. Huh?
You got Phil behind you, back. You got your pal. I mean, it's all good. You have new friends.
Yeah, I would love some stability. I think that's probably wishful thinking. I mean, we're still, even though we're 7 seasons in, it's still young. I mean, there's still going to be lots of expansion time between now and 2031 for the league. So we're still going to see changes. But
Bryan, just think the positive side of this is that we got plenty to spin and talk about in the coming weeks. So we're not taking a break. MLR Weekly doesn't go away, folks. It stays on for pretty much the whole year. We're only down about 4 or 5 weeks so I can collect my sanity.
Yeah, there might be an AI version of me for a few weeks. My brain cells are hanging out in Phil's glass right about now.
Well, I heard you guys are going cross country in a van.
Dog sled, man. Why would I be in a van?
Across Canada. Yeah, across Canada. If you were in the United States, you'd be in a van. But yes, across Canada, you'd be on a dog sled. That would be great. I mean, that would be a great off-season little segment show. You and Phil, dog sled across Canada.
We could put some, some fins on the bottom of the shield and just ride the shield all over Canada. It'd be great.
Yeah. All right.
Remind people that MLR is still around and maybe we should have a Canadian team or 2.
You make the shield like a motorcycle sidecar, right? You sit on that with like a bar in front of you, like you're on a roller coaster, and one of you drives. You switch back and forth. I'll pay to see that. And what better way to end than on that note? Thank you to Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News. Thank you to John Fitzpatrick of Rugby Morning. Thank you to Andrew Quattrin of the champion New England Free Jacks. And thank you for tuning in. Please check out our other shows, including the critically acclaimed The Rugby Odds. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. And please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.